Okay, so just in the back to basics kind of thing, let's just run through the setup from the beginning. So it's the usual story. The knees are just very softly bent, the feet connecting deep into the earth. We keep a nice long spine, head just gently pushing up into the heavens. The spine is extended by just letting the tailbone drop down as if you feel like you're sitting. So very often Chinese teachers will say to you, it's like sitting on the qi chair. And so you imagine just dropping your tailbone down, bending your knees, but we keep our back nice and straight. So it's this idea that we're just sitting down onto a qi chair. The tailbone draws down and the top of the head pulls up. So that extends our spine. And we're not trying to kind of, droop forwards and not trying to let our hips go forwards. We're just trying to keep the body completely straight. So sometimes it's quite nice just to look at yourself in a kind of mirror or reflection in the glass, and just to see how straight you look. The tailbone moves to the front. It's just a tiny little tuck. The tiny movement, you probably can't even see it, so small. The chin just gently moves straight towards the back, not tuck chin in because that makes the head look down. Just move the chin slightly towards the back. So we're not sort of jutting the chin forwards like this. It's drawn the chin back towards the spine, and that just straightens the cervical curve. Tucking the tailbone slightly forward, straightens the lumbar curve. Dropping the tailbone down and lifting the top of the head up extends the spine and makes it long. Sitting down just bends the knees. So from then onwards, we have to find our own posture that works for us. So for instance, when we're standing on shoulder width posture, it's useful just to check how wide you're standing, because I say stand in shoulder width, and what most people do is stand in hip width. So just have a look and see where your hips are and see where the outside of your feet are. Think about where your shoulders are and where the outside of your feet are. So if you go a little bit wider and allow your arms just to hang down naturally and look down the outside of your arm, you'll normally see the outside of your foot. If you're in proper shoulder width, it'll appear the outside of the arm and the outside of the foot line up. And that might feel wider than you've been used to. Good. And even wider than that's no problem. So the standard shoulder width as we have it in traditional Qigong is as we are, with the outside of the arm parallel to the outside of the foot. But in medical Qigong, which I studied for many years, we even go 10% wider than that. So I mean, you can really, really have a wide stance. Sink into the knees, tuck tailbone forwards, long spine, chin tucks backwards. Traditional styles would have it that everybody should stand with their feet completely parallel, but that doesn't take into account differences in people's hips, tightness in the thighs, problems with the knees, fallen arches in the feet. So you have to find something that works for you. The ideal would be parallel, but if you find that opening your toes up a little bit, or even turning your toes in a little bit is better for you, do so. Standing Qigong gives you this idea that and it's called very often standing like a post. So Jam Jong translates as standing like a post. And standing like a post, it suggests no flexibility whatsoever. But actually, even while I'm standing here, I'm aware of the fact that I'm gently swaying back and forwards. I move ever so slightly. My body just gently adjusts. I soften my knees from time to time. I tuck my tailbone a little bit again. I just see how my spine is. So it's a constant dynamic moving. It appears to be fairly static, but there's a constant sort of gentle dynamic readjustment. And of course, there has to be a personal readjustment as well. So for instance, I can't quite think about, I suppose that my shoulders have always been slightly kind of sloped forwards, slouched slightly. So for me, one of the adjustments is to take the center of the chest and lift it up towards the chin. And so when I adjust my chest upwards, I just feel my shoulders hang in a far better place. Just feels like the middle finger is going straight down the seam of my trousers now. So I can have my chest quite sunken and then, just feel quite relaxed there, but realize that that's actually not a good posture for me. And the knock-on effect of that very often is that you'll find a little pain between your shoulder blades. And so for me, if I just lift the center of my breastbone literally straight upwards, I just stand up much better and my arms hang in a much better posture. And I'm just aware that that's years of sitting at a computer and driving and things have kind of led me to this, these bad habits. So when I'm setting up my posture, I think, tailbone drop, chin tuck in, I get myself into the regular, and then I think to myself, just adjust the chest up slightly. And I suddenly come into a better standing posture that's much more sustainable for me. Okay, so that's one of the key aspects to it is what can you sustain for this hour-long class? So one of the answers might be that you can't sustain it at all. So it's always useful if you're in that sort of level of chi, as it were, to have just a dining room chair sitting behind you. And so what you do is you just find your standing posture, and then when you're tired, you just sit down on the dining room chair for a couple of minutes, and you stand up and try and keep going a bit longer. So you can actually kind of, do as much standing as you can possibly do. So this is the key story, is sustainable. What can you actually manage? Although I do remember I went to the climate change conference in Copenhagen many years ago, and I was talking to someone about sustainability in the climate, and he said, just think about that word sustainable. And I sort of said, yeah, and he sort of said, how would you like it if someone described your marriage as sustainable? Thought, yeah, we want better than sustainable, quite clearly. But sustainable is the first stopping point. So what can you sustain for an hour? And then how can you find your way into a more comfortable stance? So you have to start thinking about the basic parameters that are given, and then start thinking about what works for you. So don't be afraid to think, all right, I'm just going to adjust my feet now and see if that's better. Very often when you first start doing your standing qigong or any qigong, you get feet that feel like they're on fire. You get pain in the soles of your foot. You get pain in your knees or hips, lower back, upper back, and all you can do is gently adjust and see. But there's one more aspect to this as well before we begin. I'll just cover that. It's the moving gently up to a pain and seeing if you can gently push through the pain. So there are pains that, when you stretch out and suddenly go, oh, that's really sore, you think, okay, well, I better just be careful with that. I better not push that, because that's quite clearly something fresh, something new that I've done, that's delicate. I don't want to keep on working that and find that, it's massively inflamed. But the other side of it is getting to a standing posture and being there for 10 minutes and then thinking, oh, my back's beginning to be a bit sore. What happens if you stay with that a little bit longer? What happens if you gently push up to that pain and just try to ignore it? So this is what I'm talking about, the difference between a dangerous experiment and an experiment where you can just gently work your way through it. So just see with your standing posture, just see what you can do. Think to yourself, all right, well, I'll stand like this for 10 minutes before I move. And then, I'll change my posture and see what happens at the end of that 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, see if it has adapted and changed. And there's a third policy to go along with that, which is using your mind to gently soften and heal an area where pain exists. So you may be standing in your standing posture and suddenly discover that your shoulders are really sore, or you've got a pain between the center of your back. And you've heard me do this visualization before, this idea that your head is kind of like a lighthouse, this beam of light from the core of your head. And imagine that your lighthouse, you can shine light into your shoulder, fill your whole shoulder with kind of, radiant sunlight, beautiful, healing, soft light. And for a moment or two, you concentrate on the area. You imagine going through this process of softening it or filling it with chi or nutrients or blood, relaxing the muscles, opening up space. And then after you've done that little exercise, take your mind elsewhere. Switch the mind off, put the mind back in your belly, whatever it is you could need to do, just take your mind away and leave the shoulder just to gently, gently heal itself. So we turn our attention to the task, we give lots of chi to the task, and then we take our minds away and allow the chi just to do its thing. So those are our possibilities. 1, it's too painful. Just be very careful. 2, I might be able to push through this. 3, add a bit of attention, a bit of love, a bit of healing, and then just give it time to see what happens. Okay, so in our standing posture, we're just going to put our hands on lower dantian for a moment, bring our minds to lower dantian. So often you hear this idea put your mind in lower dantian. So what's the idea of that? It's the center of you. It's the core of you. Put your mind into the core of you. Now the mind is inhabiting the body. Very often the mind just inhabits the mind. Very often the mind's just doing mind things. It's rushing about, it's doing the shopping, it's wondering if you packed something for your kid's lunch, it's wondering if, blah, blah, blah. On it goes. There's a whole kind of like stream of consciousness in the mind. Now what we're trying to do is to drop the mind into the belly and really embed the mind. Really embody your mind embody, or get the idea. So sink your mind down into lower dantian. Just try and experience that space behind your belly button. I used to always sort of say to people, what does lower dantian look like? What does lower dantian look like for you? Perhaps it's something the size of a ball filled with a football, like filled with chi deep inside your belly. Perhaps it's the size of a walnut. Perhaps it glows like a pilot light inside a boiler. Perhaps it's like some sort of nuclear glow deep inside. Perhaps it's sort of a green ball of chi glowing deep inside. Perhaps it's like a speck of light, deep inside you. Whatever your visualization is, perhaps something that worked for me was the idea of like an ember burning deep inside, like a sort of a coal, the charcoal in your barbecue, some deep golden glow deep inside. So put your mind into that lower dantian, because we're going to move from lower dantian. Let's just release our hands down by our sides, and we'll gently turn, just look over the shoulder and see how the back feels. Just stretch into that. And then come back. We'll do the other side. Gently opening. Gently opening. And then let's move into the exercise. Release the waist. Let the arms swing nice and easily. Let the palms be open so they tap gently onto your sides. Shoulders are soft, elbows are soft, hands are soft and open. You can gently move the hips, gently move your knees. Whole body just gently rolls into this lovely exercise. Moving your spine, hips, knees and ankles. Moving your shoulders, elbows and wrists. We'll concentrate on the neck a little bit more in a few moments, but at the moment we're just getting the body shifting. That starts to move. At the deepest level, it generates a movement of your chi. As the chi moves, the blood moves. As the blood moves, oxygen and nutrients pump around your body. For me, the only way to start off my day. So, first thing out of bed, I do this warm-up routine. There are other things I do as well. Do some squatting, I'm doing some stretching, I'm doing some exercises to learn how to do the splits. Extraordinary. But I feel that I need to work my legs and my lower back. So, I'm doing sort of gymnastic exercises. But whatever else I do in the morning, first thing, it's the very first thing I do. Step out of bed and do my warm-ups. So I do this, and then I do some extra added exercises. And then if I have time, I'll do a little bit of sitting just to bring myself back to myself. But very often, the family's in motion by then. So, don't have the luxury of that. But I wouldn't fail to do this warm-up exercise. At least 15 minutes every day. And then sometimes if I have the luxury of doing it again slower, I'll do it later on, but this is my definite anchor. It puts me into a chi state. So some while ago, one of my students, when I was teaching Lift You Up and Pour You Down, to teach a training course. In Zheneng Qigong, we always start off by doing the Dr. Pang's 8 phrases. So Dr. Pang created a poem, 8 lines of 4 Chinese characters. It's similar to something like a sonnet or a limerick. It's got a standard form, 8 lines, 4 characters, and within his 8 phrases, he has encapsulated everything about the theory of Zheneng Qigong. And so basically it's the bit where we talk about connecting into the earth, connecting inside your body, and connecting as a class. And so you'll often hear me do that, and it just kind of merges into the class. But the idea is that by always doing that every time, a Zheneng Qigong player can find themselves in a Qi state very easily, because we always, it asks you to go through a process in your mind that brings you to a very still place. And that is a Qi state. Your mind has settled and calmed, your body has relaxed and opened. And that is what a Qi state is. But this warm-up also brings you into a Qi state. You become very, very familiar with this movement. It doesn't require any brain power at all. It stills and relaxes you, settles and calms you. The pulling down part we're about to do really brings you back to yourself, roots you in your body. And so that also brings you into a Qi state. And so one of the student teachers said, why does Jeremy never do the 8 phrases first? Why does he always do his warm-up? And the answer to that was, well, because that's how you get into a Qi state with Jeremy. And yeah, so I do this to get myself into a Qi state every morning, so that when I approach my day, I'm already feeling relaxed, centered, calm, quiet, steady, ready for whatever the day might throw at me. So I suggest you find your own anchor. You're more than welcome to make it my warm-up set, but the 8 phrases is beautiful as well. Whatever works for you. Okay, let's take this exercise, open up a little bit further. Let's just go and look over the shoulders, expand out. Last thing to say about a Qi state is that you can summon your Qi state if you've forgotten it. You can bring yourself back to your Qi state in a moment. So when you suddenly find yourself in a stressful moment, you're driving somewhere and you suddenly don't know where you're supposed to be going, bring yourself into a Qi state and allow yourself to flow. So what do I mean by that? As we practice along, by the time we've finished doing our little warm-up set, we'll feel still, relaxed, comfortable, happy, hopefully. And we just take stock of that, how that feels. When we do Qigong day after day, week after week, we take stock of how that feels. And so, for instance, if you work with Teacher Wei, sometimes he'll just say to his students, now, put yourself in a Qi state, just like that. And you're supposed to bring yourself to this place. Well, you find you can do that very easily because you know how this place feels. You know how you become when you've done 10, 15 minutes of Qigong. Your body understands that kind of setting, if you like. And so when he says, put yourself in a Qi state, you can summon it up in a moment. So don't forget, you can bring yourself into this Qi place whenever you like. You can plug yourself into the Zheneng Qigong field at any time. And it just brings you stability. It gives your body an intelligence. It quietens your mind. Okay, good. Let's let this whole thing subside gently. Let's gather Qi, plant the hands in the earth, lift Qi up. Gently move the energy through the body, through the head, upper energy field. Deep into the chest, the middle energy field. Deep into the belly where we've been residing, lower dantian. Allow the hands to relax and the Qi flows. Let's go again. So normally 3 times is enough, but if you find yourself feeling very dizzy, you can always do 5, 6, 10 times, just until you feel stable. Draw the chi deep into your belly. Really connect and relax. So next time, let's just go into a gentle forward bend. So we just gather. Let the hands flow down through the body. And just follow the hands all the way down to lower dantian and then continue on down into a comfortable forward bend. So when you hit that forward bend, one of the key aspects is to release the back of your neck so that the head hangs completely unsupported. Keep the knees soft, let the body hang. Tuck the tummy in a little bit, just find a comfortable posture. Our first extension takes us gently towards our toes. And then release. We imagine a line drawn between the roots of our toes. Gently stretch towards that. And release. We imagine a line that's drawn between our insteps. Gently stretch towards that. And release. Imagine a line drawn between our heels. Stretch towards that. And release. Body hangs and relaxes. Lift the tailbone up behind. Push the tailbone to the front. Curl the head and arms and ears up in one piece. Stretch up into the blue sky. Okay, knees and hips drift forward. You gently lean backwards. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Hands up in the blue sky. Let's do some side bends. Gently down. On the right hand side. Down on the left. Down on the right. And then gently gather the hands up above the head. Okay. Tip over with the head, the arms, the ears. Softly roll into the upper back, middle back, lower back. Let the body hang and relax. Back of the neck hangs and relaxes. Extend softly towards your toes. And release. In line with the roots of your toes. And release. In line with the insteps. And release. In line with the heels. Body relaxes and hangs. Just point the tailbone up into the blue sky behind you. Push the tailbone to the front of the body. Start building the spine. Take up the head, the arms, the ears. The whole thing gently gathers up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Release knees and hips forward. Lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Hands up into the blue sky. Left hand goes down. Right hand goes down. On the left. On the right. Bring the right hand up. Okay, we'll run through with straight legs if possible. Just give the hamstrings an extra stretch. Lock your legs straight. Tip over the head, the arms, the ears. Roll gently down. Sink, settle, relax. If you can keep the legs straight, that's lovely. And what we're doing is just shifting the weight gently forward into the toes. Just feel a bit of an extension up the back of the legs. Feel the hamstrings stretch a little bit more. Great. So in this posture, let's extend down towards our toes. Release. Towards the roots of our toes. Release. Working towards our insteps. And release. Working back towards our heels. Body relaxes and body hangs. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine gently rolls up. Head, arms, and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Releasing knees and hips forward, you lean back. Gently stretching up and back. Up into the blue sky and back. Up into the blue sky and back. Allow the hands to drift down the side of the body. Change hands. Again. Change hands. Good. And then just draw the hands up into the blue sky. Okay, last time through straight leg. Just let me know if there's any change in the audio. Something went pong in my ear there, which is very peculiar. Hopefully the microphone's still working fine. You can hear me when I'm in this bent posture. Legs straight. Okay, so extending gently towards the toes. And release. Towards the roots of your toes. And release. Heading towards the insteps. And release. And as deep as you can, back towards the heels. Body relaxes and hangs. Tailbone lifts up behind, tailbone pushes to the front, spine gently rolls up, head, arms, and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Knees and hips drift forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and gently back. Hands up in the blue sky. Left hand curls down, stretching towards the back of the left. Right hand curls down. On the left. On the right. And then gather the hands up above the head, allow the chi to support for a few moments. Release the hands down. Let's just gather some chi. The hands deep in the air, lift chi up, gathering this chi up. Beautiful ball of energy. So you can just imagine pouring it through Bai Hui, straight through the top of your head, down into the upper energy field. Move the chi down on through your neck, center line of the body, down into the center of your chest. And then down into the lower energy field. And then just release the hands and imagine the chi continues on down into the ground. Do it again. So as I say, generally 3 times is the charm. But if you find yourself more wobbly, imbalanced, lightheaded, do this 6 times, 10 times. You can always sit down, you could always lie down. Just use your mind to run through the exercises. Your mind is just as powerful. No, that's wrong. The mind is much more powerful than your body. Much more powerful. So when we've stabilized ourselves, doesn't matter how many times it takes you to get there, just leave the hands on the tummy for a few minutes. Good. Let the hands relax down by the sides. Bring the feet together into the Zheneng Qigong posture. Knees again softly bent. Tailbone is tucked slightly towards the front. Spine long. Arms hang down by your sides, chest lifted. Let the tailbone drop slightly. At the top of the head, push up to the blue sky. Connect from the soles of the feet deep into the earth. Allow earth chi to flood into your body. Connect from the heavens above. Allow the chi to pour down from the heavens into you. The surge of energy from both directions meets deep and lower dantian. You can imagine lower dantian gently mixing and gathering this chi, storing this amazing energy. Allow the whole body to relax. Soften throughout your body. Expand your mind. So rather than just being caught in its gilded cage inside your head, gently allow your mind to explore through your body. Feel into your head and see what your head feels like. How's your neck? Feel the muscles and bones. Feel gently into the shoulders so the mind can examine the shoulders and the arms all the way down to the fingertips. You can gently examine into the chest, breast. You can examine the spine. You can gently examine the middle torso, the lower torso. Examine down into the tailbone, into the hips and pelvis. Just gently examine your thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet. So the body relaxes and the mind can expand into every aspect of the body, just to scan through, see how things feel today. This idea that if we come across something that feels a little bit grumpy, a little bit cross, a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit blocked, sometimes you get a sense of the idea and just think, well, that doesn't feel quite right. I don't know what, but it doesn't feel quite right. Use your mind to open the space. If everything is packed in and cramped, nothing moving, no room for expansion, and that's no good. We need space inside our body. From a cellular level, gently opening the cells so they no longer sort of squeeze against each other. And the blood opening up space for everything to flow easily. In the bones, there's already space. Your bones look very solid, but they're actually like honeycombs. Muscles, open up space in the muscles. They soften and open up space. Open up space in your spine. It can often feel very kind of tight and trapped. Just imagine a beautiful spongy layer of chi between each vertebra, allowing your body to articulate really easily. You can do the same with your hips and your knees, your shoulders and your elbows. You can just imagine a ball of chi gently inside, expanding outwards and opening space. Even down to your fingers and your toes, we can just put space in every little joint. Just open up. Feel the body soft and expanded. All the while, we try to keep our stance a good, comfortable stance. We try and keep our mind quiet. So always with the mind, it'll flit off to different places. Suddenly you find yourself thinking about a parking ticket or something. Draw yourself back from that. Your mind is like a little child or a puppy. It'll run away at a moment's notice, and you just have to gently draw it back and say, no, we're staying here now. And after a while, you can train your mind just to sit, be a good puppy. Gently allow it to stay in place. Longer and longer periods, it'll just obey. So we keep the mind still, the body relaxed. We allow our mind to expand through our body, to feel into the energy field around us, our Wei Qi layer that protects us, to expand beyond that and move into our Qi body. So the Qi body, it's like a field of Qi around you. Imagine it extends a meter in front of you, a meter behind you, a meter to your left and right. And if you stick your arms out, it'll go even further and obligingly span out a meter beyond your fingertips, as it were. A meter above your head, a meter below your feet. So we have this lovely Michelin man ball of Qi around us that protects us. We have our Qi, our Wei Qi layer on our skin, which is the sort of last line of defense, or the first line of defense, depending on which way you're looking at it. Then we have the Qi body around that, which is our next kind of layer of our being. And then we can feel beyond that into the room. We can expand our minds out into our workspace. We can expand our minds out into our home or office, wherever we are. We can expand our minds out into the countryside or the city that surrounds us. We can expand our minds out into our county, into the country, out into the continent. And then eventually we can allow ourselves to zoom back even further and just imagine our beautiful Earth. Just see the beautiful Earth below you. And then become aware of our universe, of our, solar system, our sun, our planets, the moon. You can become aware of our galaxies, the Milky Way, the stars, the myriad of stars. And even beyond that, expand beyond that. Open out and really allow your whole body to dissolve into the vastness of the universe. Any problem you have now becomes minuscule, tiny, tiny, tiny in comparison to the vastness of the universe. By the way, the universe is big enough to take all your problems, so you can just let go. Let go of all illness. Let go of all emotional problems. The universe can easily shoulder this Qi, and you can easily gather back replacement Qi to fill those emotional patterns, to fill those gulfs in your life that you feel might be there, to pour through the pain and injury, suffering, to pour through your body, every cell. So let's draw our minds back and gather all this amazing Qi with it from the vastness of the universe, our galaxies, our solar system, finding our way back to Earth, seeing our beautiful Earth. Just for a moment, we can radiate Qi back to Earth. Send your healing energy back to a person, a place, a country, whatever it is that you feel could do with some help today. Radiate love, unconditional love. A beautiful planetary healing or a beautiful personal healing for someone. And then we gently bring our energy back. So we start to find our continent, our country, our county, our city, our town, our village, whatever it might be. We gently draw ourselves back into our workspace. We find our body. And now we physically bring chi back into every cell of our bodies. So in Dr. Pang's theory, our entire universe is made of what he calls Hunyuan Qi. Hunyuan Qi is this sort of undifferentiated vastness of the universe that's just waiting to happen, the vast potentiality of the universe. And now you've gathered the vast potentiality of the universe and you've connected it to your consciousness and you've poured it through your body. You've given this Qi purpose. So we bring this amazing energy into our body with a new purpose, to fill every cell, to fill the DNA, to change the way the body functions. But on an emotional level, perhaps we're also changing the stories in our lives. So just think about that for a moment. Something bad that happened in your past. Something that's marked your life. Something that every time you see X, it reminds you of that time when so-and-so did this to me, whatever it is. Just think about that and think about how you're going to dissolve that. How you're going to let go of that whole sensation, that whole story. Well, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, that terrible event from the past, is it happening to me right now? The answer, I hope, is no. If it's not happening to you now, then it needs to be changed. If it is happening to you now, call for help, do something about it. But if it's something from your past, it is in the past, and it should have no weight on the present moment. So now we take that idea, and we dissolve it out into the universe, send it off, package that whole story up into a ball of chi, and send it out into the universe. Say goodbye, let it go. Feel your ability to take terrible events from your past, parcel them up in chi, just send them away, let go forever. You don't need to have them anymore. Allow them to leave. The universe is big enough. What takes its place? Brand new, fresh Hunyuan Qi from the universe. Allow new energy to flow back in and fill the places that those old stories held. Nothing will ever change what happened. You have to change how you feel about what happened. So that story, it's now the past, it's gone, it's disappeared. When you think about the person or the thing that gave you the problem, just think about happiness, just think about a good learning from it, just think about anything you can take out of it. So we just get rid of the old, bring in the new, we change the shape of how those things feel, we change the physicality of our bodies, and we heal. Okay. We can gently turn our palms to face towards the back. We can lift our fingers to 90 degrees. We can push forward and extend out into the blue sky. When we draw our hands back, we imagine pulling energy into our bodies. Gently push and connect. Pull and draw chi inside. Connecting outwards. Gathering in. The hands relax. Gather a ball of chi, lift chi up in front of your belly and allow that chi to flow. Turning palms to face down, we gather the hands to the sides. Draw chi to the back. Allow the chi to flow. Bring the hands up the side of the body, lightly touch Daba. Allow the chi to flow deep inside. Elbows go back, hands go forwards, out into the blue sky. Gather chi back to the upper energy field. Allow the chi flowing deep inside. Opening elbows and wrists, the hands gently open. Palms turned down with a little scoop of the hands. Lift chi up and draw the chi up above the crown of your head. Extend a little bit up into the blue sky. And then let the hands drift down over the top of the head, down in front of the face, down in front of the heart. Just to settle there in front of the heart. We connect with our hearts. It's summertime. We go deep inside our hearts. Just imagine your heart glowing bright red. Just imagine your heart opening, truly opening. Sometimes that feels like a very scary idea. Sometimes we've been so deeply hurt by matters of the heart that we just cannot countenance the idea of opening it once again. Open it you must to function properly. Every single time something has happened to us on a love level, we've learned that sometimes we close. So we have to be brave with our hearts. We have to feel that we can once again open our hearts out. Once again, allow ourselves to love unconditionally. Let yourself love unconditionally today and forevermore. Then stand on the toes and open the heels out to parallel. You might want to go a little bit wider than that. Sit the tailbone, tuck the tailbone, stretch the spine and tuck the chin. Let the hands relax out to hold a gentle ball of chi. Soft knees. So we're gently going to connect through our body. Just going to draw a map on the sole of your foot. The tip of your middle toe, along the middle toe to where it meets the sort of crease of the foot, the root of your toe, and then keep going back about the same length as your middle toe. If you can imagine how painful it would be to fold your middle toe underneath your sole, and where the toe touches, that would be more or less where Yong Kuan is. So Yong Kuan, the kidney point, it sits, so let's go for the geography of the foot now. We go along from the tip of the middle toe to the crease of the middle toe, and then we sort of go slightly up the mountain of the kind of ball of your foot, slightly down the mountain at the other side of the ball of the foot. And just as we're getting towards the plateau at the center of your foot, that's where Yong Kuan sits. So it's about a third of your foot back from the tip of the middle toe. It's not in the center of the foot. It's only a third of the way there. So Yong Kuan is the kidney point. And we're just, by bending our knees, we're really pressing. You can feel how much you're pressing Yong Kuan against the earth. And so the idea is that, as I always describe, sometimes you go into garden centers and you see these little sort of round discs, like a stone, and it's had a hole drilled through the middle. And there's water bubbling up through the hole, kind of little garden water feature. Well, Yong Kuan has exactly that feeling. You connect, it's called the bubbling wellspring of life. You connect Yong Kuan into the earth, and then the chi bubbles up through the sole of the foot, through Yong Kuan. And it's quite an opposite image because kidney is all about water. And so you could just imagine this kidney chi bubbling in through the sole of your feet. And eventually it works its way along to the inside of your heel, and it works its way up the inside of your leg and goes up to your kidneys. That's the kidney channel. But the real important thing here is just connecting our kidney channel into the earth and feeling that connection. Very good. So where do we find Bai Hui? Bai Hui is on top of the head. If you were to imagine taking a line up your jaw, just in front of your ears, and all the way up into the top of the head, and then you move a couple of fingers forward. So sort of draw up and the top, lay a couple of fingers forward. You're right on top of the crown of your head by then. And that's where Bai Hui sits. And so we have this point on top of the head. I often joke and say it's like your own personal satellite dish sitting on top of your head. But there are stories that people used to tell about Lao Tzu, the famous or mythical, possibly Chinese writer from 2,000-3,000 years ago. Lao Tzu apparently had a little dimple on top of his head because he was such a venerable chap that his Bai Hui point had actually sunk, and so he almost had like a cup on top of his head where he could accept qi pouring down from the heavens. So you can think about Bai Hui on top of their head however you like, but essentially it's a beautiful gateway open to the heavens and heaven qi pouring down, but also you extending yourself out into the blue sky. So on the soles of the feet, we have this wonderful Yong Kuan points on each foot, gathering qi into our body. On top of the head, we have Bai Hui, the 100 meeting point, and Bai Hui allows qi to pour down from the heavens deep in the body. And now what about the hands? You've got your hands out in front of you, just gently holding a ball, doesn't matter where or what level or how. You can have your hands down beside your thighs, doesn't really matter, but hopefully holding a ball in front of the belly would be a good place if you can sustain that. If you take your middle finger and fold it over in exactly the same way as I was suggesting you do with your toe, which I'm sure you can't, but it also plants the middle finger onto the Lao Gung point in the center of the hands. Lao Gung is really potent. At the moment, the way we're standing, our Lao Gung points are kind of pointing back to the Du Qi belly button and pointing back to the belly, to the lower energy field. So just by standing here with your hands in front of your belly, you're able to gather lots of qi deep inside, just using this posture. And so Lao Gung in the center of the palm is a really potent point. That's why healers will often move their open hand across your body, because there's moving qi around. That's why martial artists sometimes strike with their palm open, because what they're trying to do is inject their energy into someone else's body to destabilize them. So Lao Gung is a really potent point. Just imagine from Lao Gung on the palm of your hands, a channel that runs through the center of your wrist. It runs through the center of your forearm, center of your elbow, center of your upper arm, center of your shoulder, comes into the center of your chest, the middle energy field, kind of behind your breastbone, and then goes down into lower dantian. So just imagine it's possible for you to gather all this qi in through the Lao Gung point, have it transfer its way up your arms all the way up to the top of your shoulder. So to be very precise about that, there's a point on the top of your shoulder that's called well, some of you online are shouting out the name in your heads now. I'll get it in a moment, but don't worry. It's a kind of gathering point on top of your shoulder, and it's like a well. And so I often sort of say, you know, sometimes if you're in the shower with your kids or whatever, and you look down, you see they've got a little dimple on top of their shoulders where it'll actually gather water. So that's the idea of it being a well. But that point allows qi to flow all the way downwards to this middle energy field. And then the qi can flow on downwards into the lower energy field. So just by using your hands, you can gather this qi. We know, of course, by using Yong Kuan, the qi flows up. It actually flows up to just between your legs, hoi yin. And sometimes you'll hear me say, just lift hoi yin, just tightening that central area between your legs. And that just encourages the qi to flow up into the belly. And of course, the final passage is from Bai Hui, down through the center of the head, down through the middle energy field, deep into the belly. So as we've been standing here, we've been gathering huge amounts of qi into the body. In our previous exercise, we let go. We let go of illness, we let go of problems, we dissolve them out into the universe. Now, here we stand, filling the body with qi. If you fill your body with qi, then there's just going to be no space for problems. Allow the body to absorb this incredible energy. Absorb it through your feet, absorb it through your hands, absorb it through by way on your head. Absorb it through every pore on your body. The back of the body, the front of the body, the sides of the body. Gathering chi deep inside. The more of this vast universal energy we have to fill our bodies, the less anything can go wrong. So feel yourself abundant with chi. Feel yourself able to gather vast quantities of chi to heal your body now. Feel that you can let go at the deepest level from the root of the illnesses you have, from the root patterns that have held you stuck in place. Release them, let them go, and take on vast quantities of fresh chi into your body. New potential to heal your body now. Not next week, not next year. Feel that the healing process starts right here, right now. Know that you can change anything in your body. Know that you can change anything in your body. Allow the whole body to heal at the deepest, deepest level. Allow the whole body to heal at the deepest, deepest level. All functions of your body returning to perfect working order, just in a moment, just like that. All functions of your body returning to perfect working order. Create this miracle for yourself. Why not? What's to stop you? What is standing in your way? Let go, let go, let go. And heal. Heal deep inside. Okay, so sometimes the physicality takes a little bit longer to catch up with the emotional, with the physical, with the psychological, as it were. But now you know that you've set that course. Now you know that that is how things are moving and changing. Allow that to be so. Very good. Let the hands drift back towards the belly, wherever they've been. We draw them gently onto the belly. Let the hands settle. Allow the chi to flow deep inside lower dantian. An abundance of energy. Bring the hands into the prayer position in front of the heart and step on chi. So we bring our feet back, heel toe, into the standing posture. All functions of your body returning to perfect working order. Just know that you can create this miracle in your life every day, whenever you wish. Let's draw the hands up in front of the face, up over the crown of the head. Stand up into the blue sky. Up, up, up. Then we just release our little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers, split the hands apart into a great wide arc. Gently bring the hands down to shoulder height. Scoop a lovely handful of chi round to the front, and then send the energy deep inside the brain. Fill your brain with chi. Upper dantian chi is above. Blood and chi flowing well. Drift the elbows back, let the hands come underneath the arms, slightly touch da bao. Send chi deep inside. Arms go straight back behind, and then the back of the hands move forwards. Palms turn over, send a wave of chi out into the blue sky, and then gently bring that chi back. Gather the chi onto your belly and let the chi go deep inside. Hold this chi in your lower energy field. Lower dantian chi is abundant. Blood and chi flowing well through your body. All functions of your body returning to perfect working order. All functions normal. All functions of your body normal. Great. Let's just draw 3 little circles around this energy field just to hold it in place. Keep the chi packed inside for when you need it next, centering all this energy into the core of your body. And then we go 3 circles in the opposite direction, just tells your body, Qigong's finished for the time being. Let's return ourselves back to daily working mode. And then as you stand here, imagine yourself as a being of light, every cell in your body filled with chi. Every cell in your body functioning beautifully. All functions of your body normal. All functions normal. As you stand here, just imagine your Wei Qi layers, a layer of Qi around your skin, around your whole body, protecting you. And then your Qi body is about 1 meter further around, vast Qi body, protecting and connecting you out into the wider world. See yourself as a being of light inside your Qi shield, protected, safe, happy, well, with a big smile on your face. And then just allow your hands to gently drift down by your sides. Slowly open your eyes, the fingers will wiggle, move the body in whatever way you feel it might need moving. And then we close the session off by saying Hao La. So Hao La is Chinese for everything is sorted already, everything is fixed. So we just declare Hao La 3 times. I'll count 1, 2, and then we shout Hao La. So put your hands up in the air. 1, 2. Hao La. 1, 2. Hao La. Last time. 1, 2. Hao La. Oh, lovely. Thank you very much, people. It's an absolute pleasure to see you here today.
For me.
So this recording will go up online, and then if you want to send it off to anybody, please do.
Jeremy,
yes.
Some point was some audio issues. So if you really need records for in the future, maybe you have to hear it. It was not long lasting, but it was some interaction from my side, at least. I don't know if it was.
I had that too.
Yeah. What it almost sounded like a cross line, or was it
like sound some point come metallized and disappear?
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll review the video and see. Thank you very much.
It's like two-thirds the way in.
Lovely, thanks.
Jeremy, I didn't want to speak because you was recording. I did want to ask you, is it possible sometime me to come that I know at the moment for me is very difficult because of the finances, but I would like to come for you to see what I'm doing because really I have some pain.
Okay,
and
yeah. Well, I'm hoping that also, I may be able to come up to London during the summertime as well.
Okay, that will be great as well.
Great. Well, I shall try and organize something to come and see you guys. Very good. Good to see you all.
Lovely to see you, and thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy the day.